You, right now, at this moment, are reaching out to me by listening to this episode about reaching out to me.
Gorgeous, baby. You're gorgeous.
This is the Josh Podcast Show, the anti-podcast podcast on God and man. The show that everybody's talking about. The show that will become a necessary part of your weekly mental diet. The show that picks up where JoshRolfe.com leaves off. The show title that uses the word podcast 4 times. Introducing your host, Josh Rolfe.
Woo! Yeah! All right. It is so late right now, I am ready to pass out. But I'm gonna just keep moving on with this. Have you heard of the app called WhatsApp? I don't have any international friends who live outside of the US at the moment. I have this very insular life right now, I guess. So I don't use WhatsApp, the app that helps with international calls. Facebook bought it last year for like tons of billions of dollars. So by saying this, I want you to be aware that WhatsApp is not a way to reach me. So let's move on to ways that you can reach me. And Skype is something you've probably all heard of. And that's a good way to reach me under the following circumstances. I use Skype Messenger, which is good for IMs, especially if I am sharing attachments from a laptop or desktop, which Facebook Messenger isn't that good at. Not so easy to do from a phone. I reserve Skype video for business and family calls, though it's not that reliable, especially on Sundays and holidays. Honestly, I haven't tried this in years. To Skype, though, is something that I want to spend at least a minute on. To Skype has become a verb. Even if you're not using Skype, you say, oh, let's Skype. I mean, people are starting to say FaceTime, which we're going to talk about shortly. To Skype is still kind of the thing that you say, but think about that for a moment. It's an odd word, a really odd word. If the internet didn't exist and a friend said, let's Skype, what would you think it meant? To me, it sounds like a fishing expedition or a game one might play in the backyard of an Eastern European family's barbecue. And barbecue is a weird word. In fact, word is a weird word. Word. There's also Google Hangouts. Word. Google Hangouts is great as well, both the video and chat features. You can reach me there, except be aware of the 5% chance I will get back to you unless we initiate the video or chat at the same time, assuming the call goes through. Often it doesn't. Word. But sometimes it does. Does not. Does too. Does not. Does too. Does not, etc. Word. Then there's the traditional letter. The formal way of writing thoughts on paper, either handwritten or otherwise typed. I guess there's lemon ink that you can hold under a bright light as a secret coded message. But let's move on because letters, I mean, that's just it's become a very odd way to reach someone, unless it's a thank you note, which I've spent a lot of time on with the Thank You Note Loop series, which you should check out if you haven't already. So let's move on to Snapchat. Snapchat is something that's very new to me. My score right now, I'm really into my score. It's 56 points. I know people that have tens of thousands of points. I have 56. No, I have 58, actually. I don't understand how I got them. I think it has to do with how many snaps I send out and how many are viewed. And I've probably sent 58 snaps and have 58 points. I don't know how it works, but Snapchat is kind of interesting. It's all video, and it's kind of raw. It's got a very raw feeling, and it's not going to be around for more than 24 hours. So it's kind of fun to play with, and the little, you can put little stickers and words and meme type things overlaid onto video. And so that can be an interesting way to reach me. If you do want to reach me, I don't know how you do it on Snapchat. But I'm not really talking about specifically like, here's my account for Skype or for Snapchat. This is more of a general rules, and once you get into my inner circle, then we decide how and when and which avenue, which vehicle we use to communicate. And so this guide is more of a general guide, not a specific, this is my username, this is my call number or whatever you want to call it. Then there's Twitter. I've kind of liked Twitter. I've been on it since early 2009, and I started out not really tweeting all that much, and I still, I have over 1,000 tweets, but and it's picked up over the last couple of years, but it's not a primary vehicle that I communicate. Don't try starting a conversation with me on Twitter, but do favorite and retweet often. I mean, you can always try to start a conversation. It's the debates that don't work. 140 character debates are they're really fun, but don't get me sucked into one because I may obsess over it for too long and get distracted from what I was doing before it got super fun. In other words, don't take advantage of my lack of self-control when Twitter debating. Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to lump those two together and then speak about them apart. I can't think of a way to reach me on Instagram. Let's start there. Other than to share a photo with me that you think will send me some sort of message. Yes, you can write the caption or the little post under the photo, but for the most part, if you're going to send me an Instagram message, then most likely I will not understand it unless words are attached to the image. And by that, I mean overlaid over the image meme style, which is, it's just easier to communicate on Instagram's ad heavy sister site, Facebook. I do want to say that I don't react well when I'm tagged in pictures on either site. You can always tag me in a photo. Just use caution when you do that because there's a chance I don't want to be tagged at all. In fact, there's always a good chance I don't want to be tagged at all. If I want to be tagged, I will tag myself. Please don't tag me unless you think I'd like to be tagged. But chances are I won't unless I do. Now, I did a scientific comparison between the reaction on Instagram and Facebook of a revolting photo of a sock on my toe at a beach. I was at Lake Tahoe and messing around, and I put the same image on Instagram and Facebook. And then there's that whole debate. Well, first off, I get sidetracked. The reaction on Facebook was much greater than the reaction on Instagram. Now, that could be because I have a lot more quote unquote friends on Facebook than I do on Instagram. So that could be part of it. But there was also just the comments, there's the likes and on Facebook and the hearts on Instagram, but then there's the comments, and there was more commenting on Facebook, I believe. I don't have it in front of me. So So let's just move on. Except I was going to talk about something else. What was it? People that put the same post on both Facebook and Instagram, and that really bothers some people. Like, why do you do that? I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm not sure when to do it on both mediums and when to just do it. Like, I have friends on Instagram that are not on Facebook. So they just don't have a Facebook account, or at least don't have one that I'm aware of. So I know that by reaching both, or that posting on both will reach those people. So that's more about me reaching others. Let's get back to reaching me, okay? Since this is the Josh podcast show. And that brings us to FaceTime. FaceTime can be useful if you're not comfortable with Hangouts, Skype, Messenger, Twitter, and you have an Apple device. I guess Twitter has nothing to do with Facebook. But you have an Apple device, you can FaceTime, which means you can it's like Skype. You can video call or audio call someone else over your cellular signal, through the internet, rather. The reception isn't as clear, and if we don't know each other well, then an unscheduled FaceTime call from you will be a tad awkward, and I'll ignore it. And when we next see one another in person, I will pretend I never saw it. Be aware of that. If I'm calling you on FaceTime and we haven't planned the call beforehand, chances are it's my kids calling you on accident. That has happened, mostly to the names that start with the letter A. Then there is joshrolf.com, also joshblogblog.com, and joshpodcast.com, not joshpodcastpodcast.com. I haven't reserved that one. You can always comment there on a blog post on joshpodcast.com. There is a comments feature that I haven't really been posting my episodes on joshpodcast.com, but I do on joshrolf.com. That makes me feel good when you comment on my blog. I usually don't respond because I'm not sure you'll check back, but on occasion I will respond if I'm feeling especially friendly. If I don't, it's because your comment either didn't require a response or I didn't know how to respond back to you. I may have tried to reply to your comment once, twice, many times, okay? Spending a few hours writing, editing, drafting, erasing, and then ultimately writing, "Thanks!" exclamation point. It's hard to write, especially when you're not sure what to say. And a lot of times I just don't know what to say after practicing a few dozen things to say. Apple Watch. So I have this little device on my wrist that other people with the same device can send heartbeats and draw pictures and send animated emoji and hearts, except do not do that. There's a certain middle school yearbook feeling to these messages. Unless you knew me in middle school, please don't Apple Watch me. Under the miscellaneous or other column on how to reach me, let's call it the other column. The other way to reach me is to see me in person. Soak that in. We've spent a lot of time talking about a lot of ways that new technology offers us to reach each other. Then there's seeing me in person. This could be at work, at my home, or at a meeting or event. You could reach me in the store, but that would be an unplanned reaching me. In any case, in-person reaches are the way people reached each other for thousands of years before phones, texts, and blogs. Then in the metaphorical column, let's discuss what is reaching me anyway. Is it as simple as simply getting my attention? Or is it more than that? When I'm reached, is it possible that I don't think I've been reached? Or that I am not even aware of the reaching? Could it be that I think I've been reached when I haven't? And to ask these questions, am I reaching? In summary, if you want to know the best way to reach me, I would really appreciate it if you please consulted this simple guide first. And if you want to do something different, next time you see me, hold a poster board in front of me with the words you want to say. Just don't be alarmed if I take a picture of it on my phone to read later, because at that given moment, it might not be the best way to reach me.
Thank you for listening to the Josh Podcast Show, the anti-podcast podcast on God and man. For more information, visit joshpodcast.com. Follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Rolfe. That's Rolfe, R-O-L-P as in podcast, H. Now go and have the best day and night ever. And have fun.